Hello everyone, welcome back. We are still dealing with government and specifically the concepts, all right, the various terminologies that are crucial to the study of government. Now, no one can understand the concept of government without knowing what they call states, sovereignty, legitimacy, power, and a host of others that we find on the board. Now, when you say states, you should understand that state is a reference to country, all right? Yeah, in government, we refer to state as country or country as state, rather. What states? States can be defined as a politically organized body of persons, all right, occupying a definite geographical territory and with an organized government that is entirely free from external control and with coercive power to secure obedience from its citizens and others. Take note of the definition. I just said that a state can be defined as a politically organized, that every state is organized. There is no country that is not organized. So a country must be organized, not just organized, politically organized, where there is periodic election, body of persons that occupies a geographical territory. Every state must occupy territory, okay? And it must be free from every form of external influence. It must have its own sovereignty, okay? That's what they call state. And every state must possess people. People must occupy the states, making it a state. Then we talk about sovereignty. What's sovereignty? Sovereignty can be defined as the absolute power of a state over its citizens and its own affairs within its territory without any form of external influence. Okay, that's sovereignty. So, sovereignty or the concept of sovereignty simply means of a country being free from the control of others. That's what they call sovereignty. Okay, then we talk about legitimacy. What's legitimacy? Legitimacy can be defined as the general acceptance of the people to the government of the day or the entire political system in accordance with the provisions of the existing laws. That's the constitution. All right. So every government, for it to be accepted, has to be legitimized. And for your government to be legitimized or to be accepted, it has got to bring about good policies. Okay. Or every charismatic leader, for example, possessing invaluable qualities, tend to have its government legitimized. Okay, so that's that. So what's power? Power can be defined as the ability to effect compliance, all right, with the use of coercion. We have different forms of power. We can have political power. Somebody who occupies political office possesses a political power, all right. Whatever he says becomes laws and the actions are final. Okay, now when you say authority, authority can be defined as the ability to effect that word compliance. All right. Now, authority does not have to make use of power. Your position confers that power on you or that authority on you. All right. So when you are talking about power, it makes use of coercion or force. But authority naturally comes with power because the office you occupy naturally confers on you that power. All right. Then you talk about what they call bureaucracy. All right. Bureaucracy can be defined as the slowness in the work of the civil service. All right. By laying too much emphasis on protocol, especially on issues that demand urgent attention. Submitting documents here and there for it to be signed before certain things are done tend to slow down the work of the civil service. And that's what they call bureaucracy, otherwise called red tapeism or red tape. Okay, then you talk about the last one, which is political culture. Political culture has to do with the behavior of the people towards the political system. For example, there are various ways in which people behave towards the political system. All right, it could come in form of public opinion, all right, and it could come in form of election. All right, now during election, what happens? It is your culture to come out to what? Votes, exercise your franchise. All those ones amount to what they call political culture. Okay, the way you behave towards the political system. Okay, so that's that. In our next video, we look at more terminologies in government. Hello, welcome back. We are still looking at the concept of government, all right? And we have the following on the board. Okay, now we have what they call recall. What's recall? Remember, we have a legislative organ of government that organ that is known to make the law. So the process of removing an elected lawmaker is referred to as recall. All right, somebody who has already been elected from his constituency, there could be a vote in form of referendum, voting against you from your constituency that they don't have confidence in you anymore, asking you to come back, and then a fresh election is conducted to replace you, and that election will be called by-election, which we are going to look at later. So that's recall, process of removing member of the legislature. Then we talk about constituency. What's constituency? Constituency has to do with electoral districts, all right, carved out for the purpose of electing members into the legislature. For example, in Nigeria, how many constituencies make up the upper legislative chamber? We have 109, all right. In each state, we have 3 constituencies where 3 senators are returned elected into the federal, House of Senate. Then we have 1 representing Abuja. But for the whole country, all right, for the president, the whole country make up the constituency. Okay, so that district you carved out for the process of electing members into the legislature is called constituency. For example, in Edo State, for the sake of making the emergence of a senator or senators possible, we have 3 senatorial districts. We have what they call Edo North, Edo South, and Edo Central. Okay, each one carved out now is referred to as constituency. Then the process of carving this constituency out is called delimitation. All right. So the process of carving out a constituency is called delimitation. Now, each of these constituencies return a member elected into the what? Federal lawmaking body. Now, if in the course of conducting election, there is a deliberate tampering into another constituency by a candidate so as to secure illegal votes to favor himself, that process of tampering into another constituency unjustly to secure votes to favor yourself is referred to as political gerrymandering. So when you gerrymander a constituency, you would have tampered into that constituency to secure more votes to favor yourself. Then we talk about impeachment. What's impeachment? Impeachment is the process used in removing the elected president or executive governor in a presidential system of government. So impeachment is a paramount feature of the presidential system. That's what you use to remove the president. That's by the legislature through what they call two-thirds majority, all right, of the National Assembly. That's joint sitting of both the upper and the lower legislative organ. Then we talk about what they call the vote of no confidence. Yes, if impeachment is to the presidential system, vote of no confidence is to the parliamentary or cabinet system of government. Take note of what they call presidential cabinet. In a presidential or cabinet system of government, in the presidential system of government, you have a singular executive, where the president is, of course, head of government and, of course, the head of state. As head of government, he has the real executive powers. As head of state, he performs ceremonial functions, such as, receiving dignitaries, attending international ceremonies, and all of that. Then, what about cabinet system of government, otherwise called parliamentary system, where you have vote of no confidence? In that case, you have the prime minister as being the head of government and the president as the head of state. But don't forget, when Nigeria gained our independence on the 1st of October 1960, the prime minister was Tafawa Balewa and the head of state was the Queen of England. All right. But by 1963, when Nigeria became a republic, vested with the supreme power of choosing her own leader, what happened? The Queen ceased to be the head of state. Consequent upon that, Nnamdi Azikiwe became the president and head of state, replacing the Queen of England. All right. So that parliamentary system of government was terminated on the 15th of January 1966 with a coup led by Major Kaduna Chukwuma Zeogo. All right. That ushered in the administration of, Aguiyi-Ironsi. Okay. Now, so that's that. Then we talk about ombudsman. Anytime you hear ombudsman, it is otherwise called Public Complaint Commission. It's an office set up by the government where people can go and lay their complaints in anything that bothers them in the society. But it's so sad that in our modern society, ombudsman is fast dying. All right. If anything troubles you, it's an office. You just walk in there and explain. You complain to them about the government, the activities, and all of that, and they will respond. This ombudsman, otherwise called Public Complaint Commission, was first introduced in Sweden in 1809, but brought to Nigeria in 1975. But it's somewhat inactive now in Nigeria. All right. There is virtually no office you can walk into to complain to anybody. Nobody will listen to you. So when we talk about by-election, what's by-law? I mean, by-law simply means law made by local governments. It's as simple as that. The laws that local government make within the confine of their territory is referred to as by-law. Then we talk about by-election. By-election is different from by-law. By-election is an election conducted to fill a vacant seat in the parliament as a result of resignation, death, or so. All right. Whatever makes you leave that office, it becomes a vacant office. So election conducted from your constituency to fill that vacant that has been left behind is called by-election. So anytime by-election comes to mind, the legislative organ comes to mind. Then you talk about the primary election. The primary election is that election conducted within a political party to choose a candidate that will represent the interests of the party in the general election. Okay? Yes. For example, you have so many aspirants within a political party, say PDP, for example. You have about 20 candidates, all right? PDP will have to conduct its own election within its own party to pick the most qualified that will represent the interests of the party in the general election. Such election is called primary election. Whoever emerges in the primary election will face other candidates in the general election. So general election is that election conducted after primary election, all right, to usher in the candidates, all right, or to lead to the emergence of the best candidate that could deliver the citizens in a given state or country. Okay, yes. So if a candidate emerges from primary election from PDP, another emerges from APC, another emerges from other political parties, they come together in that general election. You cast your vote for the candidate of your choice for the emergence of the best candidate. So that's that for this. In our next class, we continue.